If you're a board gamer, you may have noticed that the hobby gets pretty expensive pretty quickly. But did you know that you don't need to let finances be a limiting factor for you trying out new games? There's such a thing as a print and play game, which is a game that you print on your home printer, cut out, and play on your own. Many designers have these available. Some are for free, or some are available for a marginal cost. I've been designing games for the past 13 years, and I want to show you what I've found to be the most efficient way to assemble a print and play game. Stick around and I'll cover everything you need to know and the standard processes that I use for putting a print and play game together at home. Let's jump into it. I'm going to be using my game, The Last Flame, for this project. The method I'm going to use is the one that I've found to be the most efficient and conserve the most resources when making print and plays. Because I'm a designer, I make a lot of prototypes, meaning most of the print and plays I make, I use once or twice before I need to throw them away. This style of print and play allows me to reuse many of the components I use in the construction of my print and play. Let's start off with what are you going to need? You're going to need the print and play files, which could be as simple as a document containing a handful of cards printed out on a page. Some print and plays are going to require some more complicated components, or maybe even for you to provide a handful of dice or something like that. But the one I provide is just a card game, so it includes all the cards in it. Next, you're going to need a paper cutter to cut up the paper and possibly a scissors. Then some typical playing card sleeves like you might get for Magic the Gathering or Pokemon. And then finally, you're going to want some blank cards. Or if you have an old trading card game collection like Pokemon or Magic, you can use those to help give our print and play a little more rigidity to it so the cards feel better to hold. You're going to see a handful of steps to complete this print and play process, but really you can stop at whichever one you prefer. Each step just is going to make the final game a little bit nicer as we go along. The first step of the process is cutting out the paper. Now, it's possible you might just want the paper cutouts as your final product. If you do that though, consider using cardstock. Most print and plays are set up so that you can print the front of the card on one side of the paper and the back of the card on the other side of the paper. So you would send your paper through and get all the fronts printed, and then flip it over and send it through to get all the backs printed. An alternative method is to print the fronts and the backs on two separate pieces of paper, put them together, and then cut them and glue them. Those methods take a lot more work and a little more time to do, so they're not my preference. What I prefer to do is just print on the regular paper, and we're gonna cut that paper out, and then later we'll insert it into sleeves. So here's where the paper cutter comes in. If you're just using paper, you can usually stack a handful of pages together as you're doing the cuts. I usually do about 3. I've done more if I'm in a hurry. I've done less if I want to be more precise. But I found typically 3 is a good middle ground where I keep my cards accurate, but it doesn't take forever for me to do the cutting. If you look on the print and play files, most of them are going to have guidelines for where you need to cut down on the cards. Before we talk about your options for sleeving cards, you should know that the free print and play for The Last Flame is currently available, and I'll leave that available as free until I get the final version ready. You can find details for downloading that in the description below. So you have all your cards cut, and now you're looking to sleeve them. You have a couple of options here. You can use the transparent sleeves like I'm going to be doing in the example, or you can use the opaque sleeves that have a solid back. Either are going to work well for this. The nice thing about using an opaque sleeve is then you don't need to worry about how the back of your cards look. If you're stopping at this stage, you need to be aware of a couple things. First of all, your cards are going to be real flimsy. Well, you can technically shuffle them. It's going to be a little bit difficult, and you're going to have to be patient through that process. Without anything on the back of your card, not only is it going to be difficult to shuffle your cards, but players are also going to be able to see through the back if they're printed on plain paper. That's where this next step is going to come in. Putting cards behind your printed pieces of paper offers you a few benefits. First and foremost, it's going to hide what the card is when viewing it from the back. In addition, it adds a lovely layer of structure to the card. So now they're really easy to shuffle like they'd be a normal deck of sleeved cards. And now all your cards have a nice, clean, consistent back to them. As I said before, you can use your old Pokemon cards for this, or companies like the Game Crafter have blank cards that you can order. Personally, I make a lot of card prototypes, so I have a big pile of blank cards that I use. But if you're doing this just to test out a print and play version of a game or just doing it once, there's no reason you shouldn't use your Pokemon, Magic, or Yu-Gi-Oh collection. Here are examples of what the different finishes for your print and play could look like. Here's regular paper in a sleeve, paper in a sleeve with a Pokemon card, and then paper in a sleeve with a white card. Something to consider when assembling your cards is you can put all 3 layers together and slide them in the sleeve all at once. So you're going to take the face of your card, put your card backing in the middle, and then the back of your card on the back. Pinch the sleeve so it slides open, and you can groove those in and slide those in. And that'll really speed up your time while you're making these. If you ever printed and played a print and play game, what's your favorite one? If you want updates and more information on my game, The Last Flame, you can see that link at the top of the description.
On your turn in The Last Flame, start by choosing any player to draw the next card from the line of fate. That could be you, or someone else you'd rather put in danger.
I think you should draw it.
But watch out. Once you've chosen, any player can throw down a fate card to change what's about to happen. These cards can let you peek at what's coming next, swap cards around, or even change who's drawing next. When all the cards have been played, the chosen player flips the first card in line. If it's a flame, it goes straight to your hand. If it's extinguished, one of your candles go out. If your last candle is extinguished, you're out. The last player with the candle still burning wins the game.
Oh!
Yeah.
No!
The Last Flame is available now on Tabletop Simulator, or for a limited time as a free print and play. Follow for updates on final release.